we're joined by Linda Willis, Specialist Palliative Care Physiotherapist. Hello, Linda.
Hi, Paula.
Linda, some people may not have heard the term palliative care and others may not just fully understand what it means or involves. Would you explain for us, please?
Yeah, and that's very common, Paula. Palliative care can be a really very scary phrase when people hear it at first. But really what it is care that's given to people when a cure is not possible. And it can be given at any stage of their disease journey. But ultimately, it's about achieving the best quality of life for that person and giving support to those who are closest to them. And palliative can also mean to soothe. And whilst we can't, unfortunately, cure the disease, we can try to manage some of the symptoms that would result as part of that. And I think in healthcare, we're very guilty of always thinking about physical symptoms, but palliative care is really looking at the whole person. So yes, whilst we will look at those physical symptoms, we'll also consider emotional, financial, social, and spiritual symptoms that concerns that person.
So can you tell us more about the palliative care team? Who are they and what's their role?
Okay, well, the proper title is the Community Multidisciplinary Specialist Palliative Care Team. So it's very lengthy. I hope you got it all there. And as that title suggests, there's a number of professions within our team. We have our specialist nurses, so they are also known as Macmillan or hospice nurses. You'll hear those phrases used. Consultants, pharmacists, dietetics or dietitian, a physio, occupational therapist, speech and language therapist, social worker, secretary, and our team lead. And I really hope I haven't forgotten about anything there. And really what we do is we will support patients and their carers in community environments. That might be their own home, nursing home, hospice, or sometimes in a clinic setting. And they will have been referred to our team by another healthcare profession because some symptom that they have has become difficult to manage and they're looking our help and support with that. So we might provide advice to the healthcare profession, or we might come alongside the patient and their families and advise on whatever symptom is bothering that person and offer support to the person and those closest to them. And we'll give opportunity to the patient to discuss concerns or queries that they might have, either maybe in relation to their disease, not, their illness, concerns that they might have about their future. And we'll also have information in relation to practical, social, and financial issues, and quite often we'll sign other support services as well. And it's worth really hitting home that this is in conjunction with all the other healthcare professions that work out there in the community. And what we'll do is to try really and facilitate what those patients' wishes are and where they want to be cared for, but ensuring all the time that their care is individualized to them, because I mean, you and I, Paula, are very different people, and what we will want will be very different. So it's always making sure is the center of any care that's given.
You do hit on it there, but while we have a dedicated palliative care team, there's many other staff in our hospitals, nursing homes, and in people's own homes providing palliative care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So across the board, all our wonderful colleagues that work out there in community, hospice, the acute care settings in the hospitals, basically almost everyone is delivering palliative care of some description. But it's mostly given by the healthcare professions that who provide the day-to-day care for those persons. And we will really only come alongside whenever, I've already said, some of those symptoms become very complicated and they're struggling to manage those symptoms. But we do trust that then really provides the best quality of care for the patient possible.
So as a physiotherapist then, Linda, what's your role within the palliative care team?
Yeah, well, as I've said, I mean, we have several disciplines on our team, and I think that blend of expertise really does enhance the care that's given to our patients. So we as physios are trained in problem solving, and believe me, that becomes very useful in palliative care. So when we bring that along with our skills and knowledge of how the body moves and works, quite often we can completely different perspective to care for that patient. I work 3 days, and I have a lovely colleague, Joanna Freeburn, and she works 4 days, and we work right out across Southern Trust. So we work from Clocher as far as Kilkeel, so it's just as well as driving. But the main symptoms in palliative care that we try to manage are breathlessness, lymphedema, and really what that is a swelling of any part of the body, and that can be quite common in palliative care. And we will come alongside and try to help manage perhaps pain that has become very complicated, or perhaps disease that has spread to someone's spine, and that, the more complex issues in relation to that sometimes. And you're not sure whether we can help, lift the phone and talk to us, and we're very approachable. And you'll find our details on SharePoint along with our referral criteria if anybody's not sure.
Great. And like many other staff, Linda, you were redeployed for a while in the first surge of the pandemic. Would you like to talk a wee bit about that?
Yeah, so myself and my colleague Anna that works with me in the palliative care were both redeployed, and whilst initially that was very stressful, and I'm not alone when there are literally thousands of people out there who have had that stress. But looking back now, I can actually probably say that it was a very positive experience. Really loath to leave our patients, loath to leave our team, but we were very blessed that we were put in a community respiratory team in the Armagh and Gannon area, and the knowledge and skills that I have picked up from them really has been invaluable as I've come back to my post. And I trust that they maybe were able to pick up a little bit from us as well, because our patients do very much overlap. As I said before, the most of palliative care is delivered by non-specific palliative care professions, and the community respiratory team is no exception. So it leads to a very good team relations and working relations when you have worked somewhere else, I think, for a wee while too.
Very good. Linda, I know you and your colleagues have great compassion for your patients and your families during what are obviously very difficult times. Can you share how you look out for your own well-being?
Yeah, I can honestly say our team, every person that is there, Paula, is there because they have a heart and a passion for palliative care. But that brings its own difficulties. And as you say, I mean, palliative care professions are very, very prone to emotional burnout. Very easy to step in someone's shoes, particularly if, for me, maybe a woman of the same age with a family of the same age. And I do find that difficult. But because we're so close as a team, so caring, we will often just talk to each other. So, and we know that's part of the job. We might come back to the office and just debrief, and quite often shed a tear. Just the phrase "a problem shared is a problem halved," I think really comes into play there. And on a personal level, love spending time outdoors and with my family. I pray a lot, I bake a lot. Because I bake a lot, then I have to run a lot, Paula, to get the calories burned off baking. So and that's what I use to try and cope and manage those emotions.
Very good. Linda, I am sure the patients and families that you work with really value your support. And while you work in a very sensitive environment, you must find it very rewarding.
Yeah, I think when I reflect over working for years as a physiotherapist, I don't think I've ever worked in an area that I find as rewarding. Just to know that you can make a small difference to someone's quality of life, just to know that you can maybe alleviate a little bit of their distress, in which is really horrific times for people, and to allow them to fill a small goal that maybe to your in our able bodies seems like nothing, but to be able to go out into your garden, to be able to go and collect your child from school, things that are so important to us all. Just to know that you've maybe been a small part in allowing that person to be able to fulfill that goal is very special and really priceless, actually.
Linda, thank you so much for your time this morning. It has been so interesting and really lovely to learn more about the very important work you and your team do.
Thank you, Paula. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.